Have you ever looked at Chinese characters and just felt completely lost? Like you're staring at some beautiful but totally unbreakable code? Well, you are not alone. But today, we are going to pull back the curtain on all of it. We're going to explore this really brilliant and honestly super simple method that can turn those characters into a language you can actually start to understand, like right now. Okay, let's get into it.
So this whole idea really begins with a personal story. For Xiaolon Heshui, who came up with this method, Chinese was never a barrier. It was art. She grew up seeing the beauty and the story inside every single character. And that perspective, well, that's the secret sauce to everything we're about to learn.
But, for most of us who didn't grow up with it, the language doesn't feel like art. It feels massive, almost impenetrable, kind of like trying to climb the Great Wall of China. It's stunning, for sure, but it's also so intimidating you have no idea where you would even start. And that's the question that really drove Xiaolon. She wondered, could there be a new, fast way to make this amazing language accessible to everybody? A way to break down that wall, not with a bulldozer, but just brick by brick, so anyone could walk right through and see the beauty on the other side.
It turns out the secret isn't about trying to conquer the whole wall at once. The key is not about brute force memorization, flipping through thousands of flashcards. No, it's about understanding the system. It's about seeing the patterns and realizing these characters aren't just random lines. They're pictures and they're ideas.
So let's start with a number that's, well, it's pretty scary. A highly educated Chinese scholar is expected to know around 20,000 characters. And for most people, hearing that number is where the dream ends. It just sounds completely impossible. Okay, but what if we're just talking about basic literacy? To read and understand the fundamentals of the language, for that, you only need about 1,000 characters. All of a sudden, that goal feels a lot closer, doesn't it? It's actually in the realm of possibility. Now let's get even more real. With just the top 200 most common characters, you can actually understand 40% of basic literature. And what does that mean in the real world? It means you can read road signs, you can figure out a restaurant menu, and you can get the basic idea of what a newspaper is saying. That is our starting point. So how in the world do we get there? We start small. In fact, we're going to start with just 8 simple characters. But these aren't just any 8 characters. Oh no, these are the fundamental building blocks we're going to use to construct a whole new vocabulary. And here they are: mouth, person, fire, tree, mountain, sun, moon, and door. Each one is a simple picture, a pictograph, that looks a lot like the thing it's describing. These 8 little guys, these radicals, are our foundation. Now, before we go any further, what exactly do I mean by a radical? Honestly, just think of it like a Lego brick. It's a basic, foundational piece that you can click together with other pieces to build much more complex characters and, of course, more complex ideas. All right, now for the fun part, the magic. We're going to take these simple building blocks and see how they combine in these logical, totally intuitive, and sometimes even really poetic ways to create brand new ideas. This is where the code starts to crack wide open. Check this out. The logic is so simple, it's beautiful. The character for person kind of looks like a little figure walking. So what happens when you put 2 of them together? You get the idea of following. Makes sense, right? One tree is, well, a tree. Put 2 trees together, and you've got woods. Same thing with fire. One flame is fire, but 2 flames next to each other? That means very hot. And the logic just keeps building on itself. So if 1 tree is a tree, and 2 trees are woods, what do you think 3 trees are? Yep, a forest. You can literally see the idea growing right there in the character. It's not always about just adding more of the same thing, though. Sometimes it gets pretty poetic. When you combine the character for the sun with the character for the moon, the 2 brightest things in the sky, you get the character for bright. And what comes after 1 full cycle of the sun and moon? Tomorrow. How cool is that? Okay, let's try one together. The character for mouth is just a simple square, like an opening. And we know the person character. So what do you think it means when you put a person inside a mouth? You get the character for prisoner, or to be trapped. A person, contained within a box. It's so visual. The second you see the components, the meaning just clicks into place. It's obvious. And some of these combinations give you a pretty interesting peek into ancient culture. For example, the radical for woman combined with another woman creates the character for an argument. And 3 women together, Well, that historically formed the character for adultery. Memorable, to say the least. So here's the really crucial part. Just from those first 8 radicals we learned, we can already build and understand over 32 different, more complex characters. Think about that. We went from 8 building blocks to a vocabulary of 40 in just a couple of minutes. Just imagine scaling that up. Okay, let's take it to the next level. Because once you start to recognize these individual characters, you can begin combining them to create compound words and even more sophisticated ideas. Take the word volcano. What is a volcano, really, when you picture it? It's a fire mountain. And in Chinese, that's literally what the word is. You take the character for fire, you take the character for mountain, you put them together, and you get volcano. It's that direct. Here's another amazing example. Japan is famously known as the land of the rising sun. So its name in Chinese is made from the characters for sun and origin. Sun origin. That means Japan. So how would you say a Japanese person? You guessed it. You just add the character for person at the end. Japan person. The logic just works. Every time. And for our last one, think about an exit sign. The character for exit is a combination of the characters for mouth and to go out. It's literally a mouth, or an opening, that's showing you the way out. Once you see it that way, you can't unsee it. You know, we started this with that big image of an impenetrable Great Wall. But as we've just seen, it's not a solid wall at all. It's made of all these individual, logical, and often really beautiful building blocks. And once you learn the system, that wall just starts to dissolve. And it reveals this incredible, rich world of meaning inside. So the only question left is, now that you have a way in, what will you discover?